This is Activity 4, More Matching Moves from Lesson 3, Balanced Moves, and Unit 4, Linear Equations and Linear Systems. And this is a revision of Activity 4. In this activity, you are to match each step with its corresponding calculation that balances both sides. So this is the beginning equation, and you're going to eventually solve this equation by making a calculation on both sides to get to this equation. Then this equation moves over here. Do the same thing here to get to this equation. This equation then moves over here. And then you solve the equation in the end, so x equals 4/3. That is the solution to this beginning equation. So how do you get there? I'm going to rewrite the beginning equation as addition. So I'm going to use the inverse operation and the additive inverse. So the additive inverse of a positive 6 is a negative 6. So 12x plus a negative 6 equals 10. I'm going to rewrite the same thing down here. I'm going to solve this equation in a different way at the end in this space. So the first step is to simplify this equation by dividing each term by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So divide both sides by 2. So this is operation C. And dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. And so notice you have to multiply each term by 1/2. So 1/2 of 12, 1/2 of negative 6, and 1/2 of 10. So up here, same thing, 1/2 of 12, 1/2 of 6, and 1/2 of 10. Here's a little bit more detail because even this seemingly simple little step of dividing both sides by 2 can be looked at in several different ways. You are expected to understand that dividing both sides by 2 means dividing each term by 2. So 12 divided by 2, 6 divided by 2, and 10 divided by 2, which is, by the way, the same as multiplying each term by 1/2. Now you could have rewritten this equation by factoring out the 2 first. So 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So now we're just writing this same expression as a factor of 2 times one group of 6x minus 3. And then divide each of these sides by 2. So 2 times 6x minus 3 divided by 2 is just 6x minus 3, this right here. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So in this case, you would be dividing both sides by 2. The authors could mean to do this. So 12x minus 6 divided by 2, so that's the left side divided by 2, and this is the right side divided by 2. But you still have to divide each of these terms by 2. So 12 divided by 2 and 6 divided by 2. You could multiply each by 1/2, so 1/2 of 12x minus 6 is the same as 12x minus 6 divided by 2. So this is the inverse operation and the multiplicative inverse of 2. And the 10 divided by 2 is right here, or 1/2 of 10 is 5. So again, several different ways of looking at this simple little step of divide both sides by 2. And you should practice each one of these, study each one of these, and become comfortable with these different ways of looking at this step. So this equation now moves over here and is 6x minus 3 equals 5. And again, I'm going to rewrite that as 6x plus a negative 3 equals 5. And this one's pretty easy. You just add 3 to both sides. So this is A. Add a positive 3 to both sides. So 6x minus 3 plus 3 is 6x. And 5 plus 3 is 8. Same thing down here. 6x plus a negative 3 plus a positive 3. So these are additive inverses, so they equal 0 is equal to 5 plus a positive 3. And you get 6x equals 8. So this last step moves over here. 6x equals 8, 6x equals 8. And your choice is to multiply both sides by 1/6 because you want to get rid of this coefficient right here. The number next to the variable is called the coefficient. So the way to do that is multiply 6 times its multiplicative inverse, which is 1/6. And you have to do the same thing to the right side. So 8 times 1/6 equals 8/6. And that can be simplified by factoring out the 2, and you're left with 4/3. So x equals 4/3. It is the same thing down here. So you have 6x equals 8. So 1/6 of 6, so this is the multiplicative inverse of the 6 right here. So you get rid of the 6, it becomes 1. And 1/6 of 8. This is the same as 8 divided by 6. So if you have 8 cakes, and you're going to divide those 8 cakes among 6 people, each person is going to get 1 whole cake plus 2/6 of a cake. You're going to take those last 2 cakes, divide those up into 6 equal parts, and each person is going to get 2 of those parts. 2/6 is the same as 1/3. So you get 1 whole cake plus 1/3 of a cake, which is the same as 4/3. So you're factoring out the 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So x equals 4/3. Now a different way to solve this problem, and again, this is just useful to think about. You can factor out the 6. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, and a -6 divided by 6 is -1. So 6 times what's inside this group equals 10. And so now I'm going to multiply by 1/6. That's the multiplicative inverse of 6. I have to multiply this 10 by 1/6. So now we're left with one of these groups, which is 2x plus -1 equals 10/6. So 1/6 of 10 is 10/6. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So 1 is the same as 6/6. A little bit complicated here. So this is 2x equals, and I've added 1 to both sides. So 10/6 plus 6/6 is equal to 16/6. So 10/6 plus 1, which is 6/6, equals this 16/6. And finally, 1/2 of 2x is just x, and 1/2 of 16. So remember, this is 16/6. So 1/2 of 16/6 is 8/6. 1/2 of 16 is 8, but they are 8/6. And 8/6, once again, as over here, simplifies to 4/3. It's harder to explain than do. The issue is just to practice doing these problems in different ways.